The enthralling Super Sunday game, it ends 1-1. Luton Town scoring first with a sumptuous counter-attack, and they really believed, the world of football believed, that they were going to have a famous victory over the might, the powerhouse, the giant of this game, which is Liverpool Football Club. But after a turbulent few weeks, an emotional, a draining, and of course a very harrowing situation that Luis Díaz finds himself in, the human in me was very happy to see him score that equaliser. I wasn't happy to see Liverpool get the equaliser, but for him as an individual, for him as a person, I absolutely was. But Luton can hold their heads very, very high today indeed. Yes, Liverpool missed some chances, and we'll get onto them very, very soon, but they defended well for large parts of the game. They were compact. They used their pace on that counter attack. And look, if they can use this performance to grow, if they can use this performance to go to another level, there's a team that could potentially, but the draw takes them out of the relegation side, and they could potentially stay up this year. Which year one, when you look at the journey that they've been on, with the atmosphere that Kenilworth Road creates, they've given themselves half a chance. Even just with this draw, the belief they could take from this is going to be massive. So I want to say a big well done to them. I think, listen, they more than deserve the point. If they'd have won the game, I don't think anybody could have argued. What were Liverpool's problems today? Still a little bit loose on the transition. Still a little bit loose when it comes to stopping your opponents from creating opportunities and chances against them. That's been a problem Liverpool have had for a long time now. It's improved in periods, but we're still concerned today. And the speed on both flanks for Liverpool, for Luton, were causing Liverpool's fullbacks major problems. There's a few times today where Trent especially really got cooked. But the biggest problem Liverpool faced today was the lack of clinical edge up front. It was a very quiet day for Mohamed Salah by his standards. But Darwin Núñez, for me, missed far too many chances. There was a very early chance that he thundered slightly over, clipped the top of the bar. And then there was the miss of the season, a beautiful cushion down header from Mo Salah. The ball falls to him. It is a simplistic tap in, and it almost leaves the stadium. Now, the offside flag went up. They thought Mo Salah was offside, but the replay, listen, they didn't show us the lines, but anyone worth their salt will know that if you saw that replay, Mo Salah was onside, the lines would have come up, it would have been a goal. And that's when you're starting to look at this game and you're thinking, is this going to be a Luton 1-0? Is this going to be a Luton 1-0? Because they're not finishing their dinner today, Liverpool. They're missing gilt-edged chances. They're missing opportunities that I think most football fans would consider somewhat easy to put into the back of the net. And you're just sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, is this going to be one that slips away? Is this going to be a game that Liverpool come to rue later on in this camp? Is this one of those matches where you just think to yourself, they're going to be a top 4 team, no doubt. They're going to be dangerous in the cup competitions. But do they have a title-winning credentials this year? Because I think Luton away, for every member of the top 6, and I include United in that, is a 3 points, is a must 3 points. I know anyone can beat anyone in the Prem, but I think Luton home and away, Sheffield United home and away, Burnley home and away, Everton home and away. These teams that we all know are in that relegation battle, that clubs like us that spend what we do, that have wage bills like us, should be expected to win these matches, in my personal opinion. But I want to know what you think and feel. And look, and Darwin Núñez is a player that I rate. I think there is genuine quality in him. But the amount of times he is just crazy erratic. And I'm watching the game, and this is my bias as a Man United fan, to be fair, but I'm watching the game and I'm thinking, I wish we created that abundance of chances and goal-scoring opportunities for Højlund, because I think he'd bury him. I think he'd lap it up. It would be food and drink. Can you imagine Haaland with those chances today? Kane with those chances today? Ivan Toney with those chances? I know he scored a number of goals this year, but he has got to be burying them. You know, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it for how we see it. He really let Liverpool down today, and he deserves the criticism. He doesn't. I don't think he deserves baby being thrown out with the bathwater, never going to be good enough, sell him. But he needs to take his medicine today because there was gilt-edged chances and great opportunities for him to give Liverpool the lead and take the game away from Luton. Easy, simplistic 3 points. Get yourselves rested for the Europa League game on Thursday and you move on. But it's 2 points dropped. We look at the league table and it's 2 points that would have put you level with Tottenham who play tomorrow. Now there's a 3-point gap between you and City. There could be a 5-point gap from the top. There's an opportunity to close that gap. And you just don't want a chasm, a small gap to turn into a chasm a quarter of the way through the season. So a poor day for them. Now, I want to get your views and I want to get your opinions on this game. A lot of people are saying Liverpool were robbed. Are you talking about the handball, Ross Barkley? Look, I've been scathing of VAR officials in recent times. I have laid into them regularly. I stood shoulder to shoulder with Liverpool fans, with Liverpool Football Club, with Jurgen Klopp, when you are absolutely robbed in broad daylight in that game against Tottenham a few weeks ago. I call out these decisions. There is no bias to me in this, as there is the football fan in me. But that wasn't handball. Ross Barkley, if he'd have been facing the play and spun himself round and it would have hit his arm, I'd have said yes. My view would have been he made his body bigger. He's jumped up, the ball's gone over his head. He hasn't looked behind him. His arm is up because it has to. When you fall, your arms go up. It's natural position. And I think it clipped his elbow. So absolutely, he had no idea where the ball was. He didn't know it was coming back at him. His arm was in a natural position when you're falling from having jumped up in the air. So, yeah, 110% not a penalty for me. So, yeah, I don't think that's, I can't fathom anyone who's saying Liverpool were robbed. That's not computing with me personally. This here says, I have second-hand embarrassment for Liverpool. Listen, I think some Liverpool fans will definitely feel embarrassed with that performance. They will definitely feel embarrassed, but I think Luis Díaz saved them. I think Luis Díaz saves those blushes somewhat because it's a draw, and draws never have the same impact emotionally as a defeat. Losing to Luton is a whole different ballgame. And look, I ain't saying too much. Man United playing next week. I know we're at home, but my club's been so bad this year. If Luton play this well at Old Trafford, they beat Man United. That's what I'm going to. So I ain't throwing no shade with the way my team's playing right now. Salah was abysmal today. He couldn't go past his defender, couldn't control the ball, but put the spotlights will be on Darwin today. But Mo was atrocious. Yeah, Mo Salah didn't have a good game today, and I've already said that. However, there should be a spotlight on Darwin Nunez, and I'll tell you as to why. Today he missed the gilt-edged chances, and the easiest chance of the whole game, Mo Salah, as bad as he was, created for him. So I think you should call out Mo Salah's performance, but this is what happens. And the way I view football, and maybe you disagree with me, honestly, but it's just how I look at it. You can criticize Mo Salah, but the credit that man has in the bank stops him from getting huge levels of criticism. But he was poor today. You're right about that. But Darwin missed gilt-edged, simplistic chances that would have put you ahead and took the game away from Luton. And that can't be ignored just because Mo Salah was poor. But great super chat. Thank you. Are you going to ask Sam when he's next on Straight Facts if he'll give the respect to Spurs fans now? Not easy going to their ground and we won. Well, this is it. Listen, Sam is a big part of the football terrace, but when you run your mouth, you better hope your team can cash that check. You better hope so. And he's got some big things wrong recently. I heard Sam wants a replay. I like that. Spurs beat Luton with 10 men. Liverpool are frauds, is what Tom says. Liverpool need to sell Nunez and get Osimhen. See, that's that baby out with the bathwater criticism for me. I think that's too far. I think he had a bad game in front of goal today, but there is a player in there who I think will come good. I think selling him could be a mistake. While Liverpool fans are too busy trolling Arteta, their club couldn't get a good result against Luton. What goes around comes around. Listen, you all know I believe in the football gods. So, and I look at it in terms of game weeks. So, if your team's already won that weekend, banter away. If you haven't played a football match yet, keep your mouth closed until after. Because if you upset those gods, you know what they'll do to you. You know they love to humble man. City is walking the title. It's over. Not even January yet. Left our goals at home, deserve to lose. Pathetic is what Sarim Iqbal says here. Thank you, Sarim. Abdullah says 1 minute Liverpool look like one of the best teams in the league. The next they can barely score against Luton. I'm still in shock. But this is the thing. You guys atypically concede opportunities. You didn't 3 or 4 years ago. You do now. You created the chances today. You just didn't bury them. You just didn't bury them. Interestingly, when Spurs played Luton, yes, Luton could have scored very early in the second half. They were in the game. But Spurs should have been 3-4, 5-0 up. They lacked clinical edge that day as well. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, today with the overall play from Liverpool. They just didn't finish those chances. Darwin should have at least scored 2 goals in the first half, in my opinion, and that goal in the second. If you won 3-0 today, but the play was exactly the same, or 3-1 because their counter-attack goal still goes in, it's a game you don't remember in a month because the performance wasn't too bad. It was a lack of clinical edge for me, my bro. Remember, it's only Luton, right? We got mocked for beating them 3-0, saying it's only Luton, and I don't believe in... and I don't believe we play bad, we lose. Simple. Yeah, like Chelsea fans will be taking a bit of a W from that because they absolutely did. Yusuf here says, clear penalty. Nah, not for me, my bro. Not for me. Listen, viewers, hit the like button for us. Please make sure you are subscribing. I'm going to bring a panel out in a moment. Ram's coming on. Samuel's coming on to have their say in relation to this game. They want to give us out their thoughts and feelings, but I do want yours. Let's get the likes up past 1,000 while we are live on the air as well, please. But Ram is here. Samuel is here as well with us. Gentlemen, a hard-fought draw in the end. Thank God, Luis Díaz was in the team today, Ram.
Yeah, man, thank God, and big up to him. I think him and Gravenberch for me are the only players that can hold their heads up high. Obviously, Alisson is a given. He is what he is. Alisson is inevitable in my opinion. But that was one of the worst performances I've seen in a very long time. You know, every single player, barring those 3 players that I mentioned, and Elliot as well, deserved to get so much corn today. And look, I'm going to go straight into it. I've bigged up Darwin Núñez this season. I've been impressed with what he's saying. You know, me and Sam have been joking about how he misses all these chances. But when it comes to these big moments, you got to corner him. You got to give him the criticism that he deserves. You know, that is an absolutely outstanding miss. And Terry, it weren't Salah cushioning it down for him. It was a misheader. He was just as poor as Núñez was today. I looked at the replays. He missed the header. And it just rebounded back into Darwin Núñez. And the miss is inexcusable. And that was the story of this game. The chance that he had in the first half, in my opinion, should have buried it. You should have buried that. And the second one, got to do better. Like we laugh and joke about him. Oh, he's Agent Chaos. He does this, he does that. And we're giving him credit for the good GA that he's produced in the last 9 games. But when it comes to these big moments, when you're needed and you've got to do something, come on, you're better than that. And missing from 2 yards out, which would have stood, is a big L for him. And I don't know what to say, man. I really don't know what to say. All I can say is Luis Díaz, the amount of character that guy has to show to come on with the situation that he's been in the last couple of weeks. And to do that, mentality. I've said it before, Terry, mentality of this team, I can't question. They've shown it. But certain players in this team show up when they're needed. And certain other players don't. And it's a big issue that we need to sort out, in my opinion.
I hear you on that. Sam, do you echo a lot of what's been said there? First of all, Darwin Núñez today, some huge chances missed that would have given you the lead, put the game to bed, and you almost suffered what could have been described as one of the most embarrassing results of the season.
I'm fuming. I can't lie to you. I am fuming. Oh, my days. This was a day where you should have went out with the 3 points and just moving on to the Europa League game. First of all, our overall play was all right, but it wasn't great. I mean, the passes were too slow. Like the Salah Jota, Nunez were absolutely poor today. Poor. Absolutely poor. Like, it's not like chances didn't get to them. They had their chances. Even Jota had a chance where he tried to shoot near post from to the keeper, and he saved it. But Nunez, come on now. What I don't want is that we got a lot of high volume shooters in this team, and guys that are not that clinical, if you get what I'm saying. So with Darwin Núñez, he needs about 10 chances. He'll probably miss like 8, but he'll score 2. We can't have that in these type of games. We can't have that in these type of games. Because with Luton, you can see the game plan. They're going to sit back, park the bus, and counter-attack. And that plan almost worked to get them the win. But when you having, and I know it was quite fortuitous with Salah because he actually misheaded the ball. But when you're 2 yards out, Núñez, why do you keep blasting the ball? Blasting it all the time. Like, cushion the ball. Cushion the ball. Like, I'm fuming. We should have came out with a W. But credit to Luton, they stuck to the game plan and they got started out of it.
I hear you on that. I do, and he does miss a lot of these chances. So I want to make sure I'm getting this right. So that wasn't a deliberate header to him by Salah, in your opinion. You're saying that he was going for goal but missed.
Yeah, he was going for goal and he missed.
Wow,
it was a story of the game. It was a story of the game. Everyone in that front line. In
fairness, I was too busy laughing at the miss to watch the replay again. So that's probably why I didn't see it. Rack, what did you make of the play today? Jamie Carragher throughout the game was talking about how, you know, the passing was poor. There was a lack of, not effort, but a lack of kind of energy in the team. We saw the misses. Like, what do you put the draw, which really should have been a win when you look at the caliber that you're playing? What do you put it down to, Rack?
We see it quite often, not just with Liverpool, but with other teams. Sometimes when you go to lesser teams' home grounds or you're playing them at home, there almost seems to be a bit of a we'll win and one way or another. So there's not really that much counting on it. We just have to, you know, time will take its toll on the opposition, and we'll get our goals and we'll win. And I think it's easy for us to sit here and say that that shouldn't happen, but it does happen. We see it week in, week out. But ultimately, it's just not good enough. We didn't go in with the attitude that we needed to. Yes, we did create some chances, but ultimately we didn't take them, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. Luton are there to frustrate us. Luton are there to take what they can get, make it dirty. They weren't even really dirty. They made it tough for us. They played a physical game, and when they had their 1 or 2 opportunities, they took obviously one, and they nearly stole is a quite pejorative word, because that wouldn't have been a steal for them, but they almost took all 3 points. And ultimately, we have no one to blame but ourselves. And I mean, look, this season, I've said, a lot of people have been saying that they think we're ready to challenge for the title. I remain to be convinced after last season that we've made enough of a step forward that we're going to be challenging for the title. I think we'll be up there. I think we'll be in the top 4, top 5. And at one point, I thought we could be right up there. I think potentially we are better than Arsenal. Potentially we are better than Spurs, but not after performances like this. And when we were a machine, these kind of games would come round and we'd be focused, laser focused all the time. We play it tight. We wouldn't concede chances, and we'd score our goals. Nunez.
I think I just want to quickly say as well, Terry, just on top of what Sam and Rack has said, Klopp deserves a lot of heat for today. This is the game where the inverted role wasn't going to work. I knew it wasn't going to work because of the way Luton play and the way that we struggled before with these kind of teams when Trent has inverted. And what I've been most hopeful from this season, that he's shown that tactical flexibility, he's changed people around, moved people into different positions, different styles of play. Today, he stuck to what it was and it didn't work, and he didn't change it quickly enough. After 55 minutes, I was like, something needs to change. Nothing's working. Take off some players. He took him. I think he made the substitution around about 63, 64 minutes. I was like, if he made it 10 minutes earlier, like he'd done before, he made it at half time, it would have changed things. It might have changed things earlier. And he didn't do that. It's like everything that we praised Klopp for the last 11 games that we've seen in the Premier League and also Europa League and EFL Cup games. He did the exact opposite today. And that's where it cost us, in my opinion. It really did cost us.
I want to ask you, Ram and Samuel, do you echo what Rack has said, that it's these types of performances and results as to why he isn't convinced that you are going to be in the title race this year? Do you agree with that, Ram?
Well, that kind of thing has always been a problem for us. Even when we were starting off, we were really, really poor against the teams that were low block. The reason why I pushed against it before was we did it to Wolves, we did it to other teams that play that low block, and we found quite a little bit of joy against them. But today, I still push back on it, because today we had chances, we had the opportunities, we could have beaten them. All we needed was one goal. Even our set pieces, which we're known for, were just shocking. Couldn't beat the first man. Too high, too low, not to the right person, getting intercepted all the time. All these factors are just not coming to fruition. And today was an exact example of what was going on. Everything barring the final third was all right, was decent. Final third, atrocious, chaotic, no finesse, no calmness, no sense of clinical edge. We didn't have that. Trent will play a 40-yard ball to the left-hand side and we have them on the ropes. And then we just slow it down and then play it back. And it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Like, we need to play quicker football against these players, not play slowly and lethargic and not even in decisive football. And that's just that's the real problem for me for this game.
I said in the Twitter space before this game that I believe Liverpool win this game, but Liverpool have to be careful not being complacent. You saw today that they were complacent with the players. The way they were passing the ball. And remember, there was a break. This is my head is hot. Sorry, we were on a break, yeah, and they passed the ball to Trent, and Trent tried to cut it back where nobody was there, and it's kind of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? There was others, which even Szoboszlai, McAllister, they were trying to pass the ball, trying to make free balls, and it just didn't make sense. And then they will get onto the ball, ponder on the ball, then make a pass. We need to be a lot quicker with our passes, but we weren't quicker with our passes.
Funny enough, the players in the starting 11, the only person that gave a damn is someone that's actually fighting for their place, and that's Gravenberch.
Literally. And
it smells complacency.
All you're seeing is just slow build-up, and we're not doing anything with the build-up. And I'm saying Luton are absolutely perfectly fine with us doing this. We're not being direct. And the times when we were direct, we're missing the chances. NUNEZ giving up the goals.
Can I ask you boys a question? Do you think, I'm going to rack first on this, does a midfield with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister, no recognised holding midfield player, does it work? Because yes, you created many opportunities today, so that element did. But do you think that hurts you when it comes to the counter-attack? Notice the attacks from Luton were quite good today. Maybe one of their best attacking performances in terms of their approach to it so far. Is that something you're worried about being exposed by better teams moving forward?
I mean, it's a concern. The thing that a player like McAllister or someone of that ilk who's not as strong maybe defensively but is very, very good on the ball is it helps you retain possession. So the number of opportunities you're going to concede on the counter-attack you would think would be less. But, you know, at the same time, if you concede good enough chances and you concede them regularly enough, then the opposition will score. But you would also hope that when you've got more possession, you've got better possession on the ball and you can create more, you would score more goals. And I think that's been one of our strengths going forward this season is that our tech has looked very good, or at least we've scored a lot of goals and we look like we can score goals against anybody. But conversely, we've looked like we can concede goals against anybody, like we showed today.
The one thing I have a problem with McAllister when it comes to sixth role is that he has the intelligence. He knows when to intercept and knows when to tackle, but he doesn't tackle. It's like half-hearted tackling, you know. And I'm gonna bring him up because obviously he played yesterday and had a very good performance. Andre in the Copa Libertadores, when I saw him, it's something same mold as McAllister, but more mobile and more aggressive. And it's understandable why Jurgen Klopp was looking at him as a player that could play as a number 6. And all the attributes that McAllister doesn't possess enough of is something that he's looking for. A 6 needs to be aggressive. They need to know how to tackle, and they need to know how to defend properly. And most importantly, mobility is important. And McAllister, he can get around the pitch, but he's not mobile at all. He knows where to be positioned and where to be in the right places. But when it comes to tracking back, when it comes to defending counterattacks, he's very, very liable because he's just not built like that. He's not a runner.
Thing. When you have Trent invert, you need people in your midfield to have defensive awareness to know which positions to step into to cover his positions. And the problem is with your 3 midfielders, I see them all as more specialists in the attack. And that's not a dig. That's just what they are. And you know, if you have a Caicedo out there as an example in that holding role, I think that would stop an element of those attacks. Like Sam, do you think that's an area that you want looked at? Is it, or is this just about getting through a period until you can buy somebody else?
Yeah, no, literally before the season when I thought we were either getting Caicedo or Lavia, especially if we were getting Caicedo, I said we're going to win the league. Now that is a very important metric we're getting here because of how much of an importance a natural CDM is to a team. Look at Fabinho all those years and what he did for us. For me personally, I said once we knew we weren't going to get that CD, I know we got Indo, but again, as I said, he was like kind of like that utility player like James Milner. I said this team can hang on until January. If we keep it close until January and get Andre in January, then we should push on to do good things this season. But for the rest of the season, if we don't get a CDM, we are going to fall off because there's going to be teams that will see us and counter-attack us a lot of the time. And you can see with Luton, I call 3 of their counter-attacks very good. And it cost us. It cost us today. But again, the CDM role, we are playing well around it. But today it was kind of like 3-1. We move on to the next game. we score our chances. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, mate, and that's it. Sometimes you're talking about elements of and I know this is a United fan this season, you start to talk about elements of the game that went wrong in the 70th minute, but you think we'd have taken our 3 great opportunities in the first half. Would those situations have arisen? I did want to ask you boys as well. I've got to rack first on this. I know you've got to shoot soon, Sam, so whenever you've got to leave, mate, feel free to duck. Not starting a left back at left back. Joe Gomez started there, unless I've got that completely wrong. Is that one of those things where you think maybe you took the opposition, part of what you said earlier, the opposition a bit too likely? Because I don't know if you'd have started Joe Gomez there if you were playing away against Aston Villa or playing away against Tottenham or away against, even Manchester United. Do you think that's a mistake that you don't want to see repeated again?
I mean, look, I'm not Tsimikas' biggest fan. I think he's okay. I think he's decent backup. But I'm also I was a big fan of Joe Gomez 3 or 4 years ago. But even some of the stuff Joe Gomez was doing today, like lackadaisical passing, positions where he was in a dominant position controlling the ball with a player behind him, and he was losing the ball. It just feels like not just that injury. And his mentality has not grown to the level that I thought it would. And I don't think long-term Gomez has a future in this team, in my opinion, even as a backup. I just don't see the quality there. We'll see occasional glimpses of good performances. I think we've seen a couple at centre-back this season. But just it's not. I can't trust him. And if you can't trust him, better we get someone who we can trust.
Do you know what? I'm going to say this last thing and then we'll have to go. Joe Gomez, in the game, I don't actually think he did anything. He didn't put a foot wrong, but there was one glaring thing that I saw that we were missing. Joe Gomez is not left-footed. And it was killing our attack. It was killing it. because every time Joe Gomez or somebody will pass the ball to Joe Gomez to go forward, he will cut back on his right foot and pass it back or pass it into the middle. Instead of, if we had Robertson or Tsimikas, and I know people are not Tsimikas' biggest fan, but at least Tsimikas will try and drive forward or pass the ball forward to either the left winger or the centre forward who is there. And that's what the glaring thing I was seeing was that every time Joe Gomez will get the ball, and I'm telling him, advance it. He will take it back on his right foot where he's comfortable and pass it back or pass it to a safe position.
I think it's telling that Joe Gomez, a player who hasn't played left back since 2015, is coming in to play at left back against Luton, and Tsimikas is coming and is not playing at all. I'm a more extreme version of Rack. I am not a big fan of Tsimikas. I think Tsimikas is okay, like he said, he's okay, but he's just not good enough, in my opinion. And it showed. We missed someone like Robertson with his consistency and his ability, because Tsimikas in the last couple of games is just not showing it, in my opinion.
No, I hear you on that. But what Sam says is what stood out to me. I don't think defensively Joe Gomez was too poor, but we've been playing recently Lindelof at left back.
Yeah.
And it's when you play players on their wrong side in terms of their stronger foot, I feel they have to be quite dynamic to be able to quickly switch the ball onto that right foot when they have to. Most centre-backs are not the most dynamic of football players. And he just doesn't turn quick enough or move quick enough. And I feel like at times it made you a little bit dysfunctional. I know that you conceded, but I felt you became a better team and turning the screw when Gakpo came on, Tsimikas came in, because it gave you a little bit more balance. But at the same time, and this is where I feel like I understand Liverpool fans, I mean, word that's trending now across the whole of the UK is embarrassing, top of the trends right now, with Liverpool fans saying they're embarrassed, is you should probably be able to start Gomez against Luton and win the game. And, you know, Darwin scores his chances, and it's probably not even a talking point, really.
We should be able to make a serious number of changes and still be beting Luton. Like Terry said earlier on in this game, every top 6, top 7 team, if they had to go through the season's fixtures and say and mark them, you know, wins, draws, losses, we'll be looking at Luton away and saying this is the team that's going to finish in the bottom 3. We should be winning this game. We should be winning this game.
I think 100% we should be winning this game, but I don't think it's. I think I blame Klopp for this in the sense of it wasn't going to work playing Joe as an inverted left back. He doesn't have the dynamism. He doesn't have the flair or the technical ability to play. Like, how many right backs have you seen have gone onto that left hand side and done really, really well and played at a high level? I'm talking high level. It's very few. You're talking about generational players that have done that seamlessly. I would rather saw Luke Chambers or Scanlon come in and play at left back than Joe Gomez play at left back. And it's not because I think Joe Gomez as a left back is a hindrance, because he just can't play there. He can't play there. Obviously, 2 ACL injuries, doesn't have the dynamism or the pace or the agility or the balance to play as a left back. And that's the way I see it. But that's where I blame Klopp for. I think Klopp should hold a lot of corn for that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, Joe Gomez aside, whether you play him or don't play him, we should still be winning this game. We should
100%.
I just want to say something about NUNEZ. Like, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Really?
If you need to make a hole in the wall, yeah, you can use a drill, or you can use a hammer. NUNEZ is a hammer, but like that goal the other day, it required a hammer. Today's finish today required a drill, and I'm sorry, but any top class striker should be finishing that goal. And I get he's young, and I get he needs time, but people have been comparing him to Torres recently, and he has some of Torres's physical attributes, but Torres had a first touch that was fully formed, and he was deadly in front of goal. If NUNEZ has a 1-on-1, I'm 50-50 as to whether he's going to score, and I really hope that he changes my mind. But I haven't seen enough so far last season or even this season that's going to make me change it unless he starts.
He has the finishing of Torres after that injury when he's at Chelsea. just bare missing.
Sure, but
Just
right,
missing.
I don't care what happened with Chelsea. Well, are we talking, when we're talking about Torres, we're talking about prime Torres.
I know.
When Fernando, this is the thing, right? When Fernando Torres signed for Liverpool, I'm just looking at this now. It was 2007, so he's 39 now. So what would he have been then? That's what, like, how old?
About 25, 24.
I think it's 23, 24, wasn't he? I think he
So
was.
if he's 29, 84, so he'd have been 20, 21, 22, 23.
Oh, wow.
How old is Darwin Núñez?
He's 24, I think.
Again, so they are. He's 24 now. He's had a year here, and I'm. Listen, I hated Fernando Torres. I despise that guy because I'm a Man United fan.
After Vidic.
Not Vidic got the better. Yeah, that and other things, right? But Darwin Núñez is a good player, but it is disrespectful to Fernando Torres to say he's like him. Fernando Torres had a better first touch. He was probably about the same speed. Both are very, very quick, but better first touch, better hold-up play, better at bringing other people into the game. And he was a finisher of every type of goal. Delicates, headers, tap-ins, volleys, screamers, long range. I think what you said about Darwin, right now, he's got this. Do you guys ever watch the Mighty Ducks, the original Mighty Ducks? You didn't watch the ice hockey film?
Disney.
Disney. There was a character called Fulton Reed who had this amazing shot, and it was powerful. And it was like 1 out of 5 goes in. And I feel like that's what Darwin's like. It's just same shot every time, whether he's 100 yards out or 1 yard out, and 1 in 5 will go into the back of the net. If he learns to refine that, there's a player in there. But the one thing that you brought up that's interesting, I want to get your opinion on this, Ram, is he is 24 going on 25. How much more development do you think he can take in going into his mid-20s?
This is where it's a big if, because 24 for a striker is normally the age where you got to show something. You got to show that you have clinical edge. You've got finesse. You've got power. You've got everything in your repertoire. And you don't really take in that much. But obviously, there have been players that have obviously had later stages where they've actually improved. But the kind of player that he is this is the year where you're like, you got to show your repertoire. You got to show touch. You got to show passing. He's shown bits of it, but it needs to be consistent. And you got to show finesse. The main thing that people had a problem with is finesse. And he don't have that at all. And that is the big issue. And I don't know if it's coachable. I don't know if it's something, it's a mentality issue. He likes to take it on at 100 miles an hour. But when it comes to slowing it down and thinking calculatively, you don't possess that. And that's something that he needs to find quickly or work on quickly to even have a shout of being in the conversations or even a whisper.
I think there's a player in there, and I've never really gone overly in hard on him, but there does come this point where, and I understand that he scored a number of goals in all comps. What's he on this year? He's on 7 goals in all comps. 2 in the Europa League, 1 in the League Cup, 4 in the Prem. Isn't bad after 11 games. It isn't bad. But you do get to that point when you've dropped £70 million where you need that man to start turning into a 20-goal a season Premier League striker and a 30, 35 goal a season player. And look, right now he is tracking to have a better season than last year. 15 in 42 last campaign. He's got 7 in 15 this year. So if he plays 42 games again, you know what? He's probably going to get somewhere in the region of around 20-odd goals, which is an improvement. But I would be demanding more than that. And today was one of those opportunities to bang 2 or 3 extra goals in, and he isn't taking them. You're right.
The thing is, I think we paid like 60 million quid down payment, but this is 60 million quid rising to a potential 85 million, right? Depending on appearances, goals, and all that kind of stuff. That is not a small money purchase. That is a big money purchase. That is, I think, Liverpool's biggest purchase in our history. So, one of the things that when we were recruiting really well, I said was that we can't afford to make big money mistakes if we want to stay in touch with City. And we went for a really long period of time buying good players for good fees and then selling players for good fees. If you spend £85 million on Darwin Núñez and he fails, we're not fucked, but it causes a big problem. Because what can you maybe sell him for? You're probably going to sell him for 40, 50 million, if that. Maybe you can, get a bit back, but it's just not good enough. And this is why since our recruitment this summer looks like it's been decent, but trust is very easy to lose, and it takes a lot to gain back. I'm not convinced yet by our recruitment team. If we continue to recruit well in January and the next summer, maybe that confidence will return. But a lot of our players haven't hit the heights that some of our other purchases in the past have, and we need them to do that.
Listen, I think you made some really good points there. I want to go to some super chats here. Keith says we needed this. We're a good team, but we were taking the piss. We're still on the hunt to win titles. Thank you, Keith. Maybe mean like a kick up the backside, that reads to me. Luis Díaz is a hero and a proper professional. Big up to him and prayers for his family. Yeah, I have to say this, even as a, I don't really like that. Oh, even as a United fan, it's great. No, listen, as a human being, I actually don't quite understand how he's playing football. Maybe it's he can escape from the pressures of it. But if, my parents or brother or child have been kidnapped and we're still in that situation, I don't know if I could work. So yeah, what a tremendous amount of strength that man is demonstrating here. It's there are people that take days off work when they stub their toe. So to be working through that, ridiculously powerful message there. When will this fan base take accountability? Top Res will say we don't need a DM and a left back. They are the reason we don't win the Prem and Champions League. Is that League Gunner? Is that League Gunner with a Liverpool account there? Rambling in as if it's really him. I love it. Go on, what are you going to say to that, Ram?
I was going to say, I don't think any of us, I can speak for myself, I can speak for Rack as well. We've all said we needed a DM. We've all said we needed a player that can fit in as the number 6. We also said we needed a centre-back as well. And those are the kind of things that we needed to sort of win the Premier League. But I have a feeling that in January I could be completely wrong, but there is a feeling that the Andre rumours from Fluminense, the rumours there might be some substance behind it, and we might get him as a DM. Just don't do a Bellingham, because I know.
Since the summer market closed, we've all been saying, "Don't worry, we'll get Andre in January. We'll get Andre in January." It just reminded me of the whole of last season. Bellingham's coming. Bellingham's legs.
Keep quiet.
This one has a little bit of leg. I can see a little bit. Bellingham was just pure hope. But even then, I didn't want him.
This here says NUNEZ saved you at St James's Park. You are a bit harsh, in my opinion.
No, but he did save us. He did save us, and obviously when he scored that goal, I was jumping around, going crazy, and enjoying it. And you need to take the rough with the smooth, but I still feel like guilty chances like that need to be taken. And we bought him for big money. We bought him to take those chances. I understand. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, and some people. No, but right. But on the converse, on the other side of that, there'll be other Liverpool fans saying I'm not being harsh enough. So
yeah,
go on. I can speak for both. We've given him praise on that day when we were on stream on that day when NUNEZ scored those 2 goals. We gave him so much praise, but when you do stuff like that today, you got to give him criticism.
There comes a time when you need the players to start stepping up, and he's been here getting towards 18 months when you include when he was signed. And Liverpool fans should be expecting one of the most expensive players in their club's history to not, do that what he did against Newcastle. But you've got to score against Luton. You've got to score against all these teams. And there's a certain amount of time. Normally, it's a season or 2 players get to really hit the heights you expect. And if not, a club of Liverpool stature can't go. If he doesn't improve beyond the levels you've seen so far, come the summer, a club of your stature can't go, we'll give him a 3rd year. We'll give him a 4th year. Because the best of the best don't do it. They say, right, we'll keep you, but we are buying somebody else to see if they can start scoring goals. And that's how great teams behave. And you guys didn't have that issue with your attackers when Klopp's first great team was built, because they were all performing and Mane and Salah were scoring. You didn't go through a situation where you brought somebody in and one piece of that puzzle wasn't quite hitting the heights regularly enough. Donny here says we can't pin teams in with no proper 6. McAllister can't cover the ground, is what Donny LFC says. Is Loudmouth Hussein hiding again? Well, he hasn't answered my message to come on the show, so yes, but he'll be on next Friday, I'm sure. Arsenal already faced top teams, and they're only 3 points off the top. Yeah, everybody's faced top teams. We're not halfway through the season yet. But actually, looking at the fixtures, barring City and Tottenham, whose both their next games are against Chelsea, Liverpool play Brentford at home, should win.
City.
Arsenal play Burnley at home. Villa have got Fulham at home. Newcastle are away to Bournemouth, and Brighton are at home to Sheffield United, and Man United are at home to Luton as next games. So it's one of those next match days where you'd probably expect all of the teams from 8th right up to the top, like right near the top to win. So I wonder what the next lot of banana skins is going to be in relation to that. But boys, look, I want to thank you both for coming on. Sorry, Terry, who is Nunez not expected to score against? The disrespect to Luton. See, this is the difference, my bro. If Luton would have stopped him getting the opportunities, or the goalkeeper was pulling off world-class saves, then I would understand you saying it's disrespectful to Luton to say that he should be scoring. The reason I'm saying he should be scoring is because he missed golden opportunities. They weren't saves. He wasn't being marked out the game. He wasn't being pocketed. He had the gilt-edged chances to score and he didn't do it. And Darwin Núñez, in my opinion, too regularly has golden opportunities to score and doesn't force saves from goalkeepers all the time, isn't having great last-ditch world-class tackles. He's missing opportunities. So there's a fundamental difference between missing a chance and having it saved, twisted. For me, personally, Terry didn't watch the game. You know, I must have dreamt that he kicked it over from 3 yards out twice in the game. Yes, I know the goalie made a couple of good saves from him as well, but this is the mad bit. The ones that force saves were the half chances. The gilt-edged chances he misses. And to say that shouldn't be, I know you're a Liverpool fan, Phil, I know you love your club, but to say that shouldn't be criticised is an absolute abomination to your club, because the players need the criticism to help keep them sharp.
Terry, just a quick thing. Are we one of the best clubs in the world? Questions. Yeah. Are we one of the best clubs in the world?
Yes.
Doesn't the players need to perform at that level?
Yes.
Should they be criticised if they're not?
Yes. And the better the player and the better the club, the more the criticism, in my humble opinion. You know, I would criticise Darwin a lot more than some 18-year-old spotty kid that I've never heard of from an academy missing those chances because of the expectations and the talent and the ability of somebody. But maybe that's just me.
Can I say something about the penalty shout, Tel? So I don't usually get onto referees, and I'm just interested in the logic behind this decision, because quite often when players go up and they have their arms up in the penalty box and the ball strikes them from the front, it's not a question of them raising their arms because intentionally. It's they raise their arms because it's almost a natural kind of thing. Now, I understand that he can't see the ball behind him, but he has still raised his arms. Because both raising your arms is an involuntary and an involuntary action, I'm not really sure. I don't understand why raising your arms from the front when you don't have time to put your arms down is a penalty, whereas if it hits you from behind when you still don't have an opportunity to put your arms down, isn't a penalty.
Okay.
Having said that, I would probably feel aggrieved if it went against me, but the logic for that is a little bit odd in my opinion.
Do you know what? I understand where you're coming from, because the handball rules got so many, it could be Swiss cheese. There's so much holes in it. It's crazy. The only reason why I don't think this one is, you have to use your arms to get up and down. But I do understand the view that sometimes a player will, there was a handball that Eric Dyer conceded this season or two ago, where he kind of turned his back, and the way his arm, as he turns his back, the way his arm kind of comes out, I looked at it as, I think you're just using I couldn't see as an excuse to make your body bigger. For Ross Barkley, he doesn't know someone's headering the ball back in. So I don't think with the way his arm went was to try and make his body bigger, thinking, I might get the block on. So yeah, it would have been, it's one of those where if they're given, you're like, oh, that crazy rule. But if you concede it, it's a madness. I thought Van Dijk being pulled to the ground was more a penalty based on Man United conceding one last week. But as we stated last week, no one's going to get one for months now, and then it will happen again. So there we go. Look, boys, I always appreciate you coming on. Viewers, super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button, thank you. We're back tomorrow. Straight facts, early in the morning tomorrow. A new Monday morning show is being launched tomorrow. We'll be having Mo Gender on that with me. I'm very much looking forward to it. Top 6 at 6 p.m. as well. Actually, it'll be 5 p.m. tomorrow because there's a match going on. So yeah, 5 p.m. tomorrow, that's on. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.